Now, well, let's see what's going on here. I guess we clocked in. Hey, what's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, as a spiritual healer, for the most part, what I do is that I help people to become mentally and emotionally balanced. And ultimately, the goal of that is to help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. Now, with all of that being said, in this channel here, it's called The Give is to Receive. So, what I specifically do in this channel is that I deal directly with what you call a lot of wise quotes, proverbs, wise saying. I mean, they go by so many different names. And the reason being is because you know, those quotes or wise saying, they actually reveals, well, first of all, they reveal the true power of speech, the true power of words, but most importantly, it's the quickest way. They also allow you to expand your consciousness. That's another way you can actually expand your consciousness. And what they're showing you in those quotes or wise saying is that the power of words or the power of speech isn't necessarily in the meaning of a word. It's not significantly, like, it's not even close. So when we're talking about the power of the words, it's most likely in how things are being said. That's why you'll see poems or poets. That's why they have such a great impact. And if you study a little bit further, or if you investigate a little bit further, I'm sorry, then you realize, any great speaker, a lot of our ancestors, or, I'm saying, they always use, let's just say, it was always, I mean, the way they speak was, they always used to speak a certain way, meaning they have the ability to use some of the simplistic shit and give it a whole lot of flavor, and that can only happens in the way that is being said. And the thing about the way you say things that makes it so remarkable, or that shows the true power of speech, is, first of all, it allows you to bypass somebody else's subconscious mind, or conscious mind, I should say, not the subconscious. I'll take that back. It happens. Okay, so, because it allows you to bypass that person's conscious mind. Because when we're dealing with other people, ultimately what we're doing is, when you're having that direct exchange of energy, sometimes, and a lot of times, people are living in their own world, right? So for you to break the ice, so to speak, you know, in how you say things, that's how, what allows you to pretty much bypass their conscious mind. And now you got them in a position, now they're all open to listen. And that's why all great listeners, that's why rhyme, it's very important in terms of, and that's why mantras, affirmation, all of these things, the power of these things pretty much lies in how they're being said. Or even when we talk about mantras, it's to think, it's how those things are being said. And here's something else too. Mantras are very, very, very powerful, because you put a whole bunch of symbols together. But anyway, I'm not gonna go that far into it. But going back to how things are being said, and that's what we see in those quotations. The true power of these things is how they're being said. But most importantly, in addition to it, is the amount of wisdom that is fully and like packed in those statements. And for me personally, as a spiritual healer, I would strongly recommend, everybody. That's probably your only shortcut, to be honest, in terms of expanding your consciousness, because it allows you to ponder and to kind of like It's at this point when you start dealing with the words on that level, it's like it's not then for me, I know for me personally, words are not just, you say things just to talk, but it becomes a personal interaction. I like the words technically act on me. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and some of the perfect example, and I could see and I could tell when somebody else, let's just say, you never hear a guy go like, when the pastor said something and it hits that person a certain way, go on, preach or keep talking. At that point, this is showing you that's now the words are being alive at that moment. Do you see what I'm saying? So to me, and that's the power, the true power of words, because at this point, they're not just mere sayings, but they're living things. But this is due to how it's being said. And most importantly, that capture your mind, but also allow you to reflect. So make a long story short, that's what we do here, and to give is to receive. And as you can see in the title, oh, this is a beautiful one. And just so you guys know, too, as a disclaimer, to me, wisdom is wisdom regardless of where it comes from. And here's another way of saying this to show you, like, but most importantly, what I was also trying to tell you is that a lot of those proverbs or quotes that you'll be seeing on this channel, it comes from everywhere. Like that one actually comes from the Kabbalion. I've used the Sufis, Kabbalion, Christianity, whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's wisdom. It's still gonna be wisdom regardless of where it comes from. At the end of the day, this is you having something that you didn't have, and you're able to add something new to you and nurturing yourself, your crop, being a great farmer. But anyway, so wanted to, let you guys know about that real quick. Now, let's get into, oh God. Now that one there, like you, if we're talking about, how those words got is acting on me, that statement here got me losing my mind. But anyway, the lips of wisdom is closed except to the ear of understanding. Now that one there, it's already making me. It's making me going like it's too much for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's too much for me. But most importantly, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Now, now this is a fully loaded statement, guys. Like I don't even know how to start or which way. It's showing so many different things, but most importantly, the key thing I was able to extract out of that is that it reveals our true nature to begin with. Our true nature. This is saying it's also telling you that our true nature is also showing you. Let's just say that we don't understand. Our level of understanding has to do of listening. I'm sorry. Our level of listening has a lot to do with our level of understanding. So just when you thought, you could hear with your ears, nah, because to truly hear someone is to understand what they're saying. Then at this point, you're not just hearing the words that are coming out of that person's mouth, but you're really grasping that person. Or, so again, it's just so many different ways I could start off with this, but also this is to show you the beauty in those statements too. Like how, such a small sentence is fully loaded. So let's start. Well, let's try to unpack pretty much some of that wisdom, that is actually packed into that statement, right? So the lips of wisdom is closed except to the ear of understanding. Woo! Now, again, the biggest thing for me, it was that statement is actually revealing our true nature. Now, what am I talking about here? Now, this is revealing that our nature in terms of listening, we truly listen with with our level of understanding. You never hear people say like, "Okay, I think that might go over your head," and if it goes over your head, you did not hear it. So that's why sometimes I like to say this is for the great listeners. You got to salute the great listeners, because again. So then you realize, even dealing with our true nature, I mean, you are more than you appear to be. This is also showing you that your true essence, in essence, is that living mind. So that's why, like I always tell people, the name of the game is for you to increase your consciousness. It's for you to become self-conscious. Just like it is said in the Bible, well, Jesus said, you know, what would it gain a man to have the whole world and to lose his soul? You got to understand that kind of statements. Because what this is showing you here, it's actually displaying the differences, let's just say, in knowledge and wisdom. Because when you talk, when for you to gain your soul, that's self consciousness, and that self consciousness, as a spiritual healer, that's what I help you with. Because it doesn't matter, let's just say, if you know, let's just say, the geography of Africa, or do you see what I'm saying, the number of degree, the mountains. I mean, that's what, in so many words, we look at as being knowledge in our society. So when we say someone is smart, we're referring to the amount of information that they have. Let's just say it's to have the ability to talk about, let's just say, how many country does exist in the fucking, I don't know, in the Western world, in the Eastern world. Like, how how relevant would all of that be? If you don't have self knowledge, because that doesn't mean anything if you don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying all of that to say, because this is all connected. Again, this is all connected to the lips of wisdom, to your true nature. Because that statement is also letting you know, just like when we say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This is showing you your true nature in terms of the true creator that you are. So those are not just statements that are put together and that are being repeated. Those are live, like, wisdom. Once you tap into it, then it's acting on you. That's why the truth, you have to wake up to it, and it's all around you. That's why, as you're becoming more conscious, what you truly, and that's how you purify your environment. But what you're truly doing is shedding light into your environment, or you having a deeper understanding of your environment, and now you start looking at it from a whole different perspective. Same reality. That's why it's an inward journey. That's why if you want to have a better understanding of what's happening on the outside, you got to go inside. And when you understand that your true nature, you are always creating. That's why your outside is a reflection of what's taking place in the inside. And again, I do recommend the Kabbalion guys. I mean, that should be, yeah, I mean, if the Bible is your Bible or if the Bible is the great book, so is the fucking Kabbalion. So is so many other different ones. Because the idea of having a great, oh, when we talk about the great book, is the knowledge that it contains in it. And knowledge is everywhere, baby. You know what I'm saying? Don't limit yourself. Knowledge is everywhere. And if you didn't have it, just like I always tell people, you know what I'm saying? Why should I limit myself? Let's just say, let's just use this political perspective for just a second, to being just a Democrat or just a Republican when they both have valuable points. So are you asking me to be us like one-sided, like you asking me to put myself in a box? Do you see what I'm saying? Because if this is good, this is good. Why should I pick this when I can have both? And having both, that's how you expand your consciousness versus being one-sided. So again, whichever decision you choose to make, you are the creator of your life. But now going back, let's go back here to the subject at hand. I don't want to, go too far out again, but it's all related to it. So this is showing you that you truly listen, or your level of like us, our true nature is truly knowledge. I mean, part of us being a living mind. That's why to change your life, you know, you want to change the world. Well, change the man in the mirror. I mean, these are statements. Listen, a lot of people, because I know for me, and the reason why, and you'll see anybody who have increased their level of consciousness will also keep repeating these things. Because, and the reason why we do, it's not necessarily just for the sake of repeating that shit, but it's really because we have discovered what the shit is truly is. That's why knowledge, again, you have to wake up to it. Until you do so, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. Now, going back again, the lips of wisdoms is closed except to the ears of understanding. This is showing you your true nature. This is showing you that you are a living mind. But most importantly, our level of understanding obviously is based on the level of on our level of consciousness. So when we say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, this is showing a direct relationship on how you are creating your reality, whether you believe it or not. And we also always say that, but people who's not aware of that, who does not have that level of consciousness, they always don't see how I am the creator of my life. Just like I tell people, right? Like and I strongly believe like there is a God outside of me. Yeah, I do. You know what I'm saying? But here's what I also acknowledge whereas I mean that I notice a lot of other people do not, is that I also acknowledge that although it is me that accept that, it comes from me too. It's not just there's a God outside of me. That's why people choose not to believe in God, right? But most importantly, that's why people have different beliefs. So if I'm, let's just say, if I'm Christians, right? So I believe in Jesus, Muhammad means nothing to me. So I'm saying that to say that I play a part in it as well. And that little part that I play in it, it makes a world of difference. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's what I'm helping other people to become conscious of. That little part that you play, even if you want to downplay it, let's just say, you're being humble, for lack of better terms, or you're being smart. Every house that is built, there has to be, let's just say, a fucking engineer. Cool. It sounds good, but you also have something to do with it too. And that's how, in so many words, your God becomes your reality. And you act like the way your God acts. And, check out my other channel, Lespri. I also talk about, in terms of, you know, I, 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 I also talk about that in terms of you are the creator of your life. I mean, whether you want to be conscious of it or consciously or subconsciously, knowingly or unknowingly. If today I decide to become a 7 day Adventist, I'm changing, I just changed my reality because now Saturdays will have a different meaning for me. And because of that, if let's just say, if my old job or if I had a job that, you know, required me to work on Saturdays, guess what? I would have to let them know that, what I'm saying, I will not be able to work on Saturdays anymore. It's Sabbath, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just showing you, even in the 3D, for lack of better terms, right? You are creating your reality. But most importantly, your God that is outside of you, that we both agree on, but that little part you play in it, it's everything. And that's the part I refuse I'm not going to ignore. I refuse to ignore. Or maybe that's where consciousness comes in too, meaning I'm a little bit aware. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, choose your God wisely. Again, we're talking about level of consciousness here. And this is also why your spirituality, in so many words, is your reality, is your ordinary life. And what we're doing pretty much in tapping into our ordinary life is having a deeper understanding of what that of what that life is. Our life. Then you come to understand it's like, goddamn, like, my son loves Spider-Man. Okay, I fuck with Spider-Man too, because, but the way I look at Spider-Man, the way he's looking at Spider-Man are two different things. Yet he's standing right next to me. And we all say too, like that's why you say, a kid is a kid, right? You understand their level of consciousness. Well, that level of consciousness determines their reality at that age. And their reality keep changing as they're getting deeper into as they are increasing their level of consciousness. And in so many words, I'm just expanding to you why this world is also called Maya, which is a world of illusion. I mean, your reality changes. I mean, it's based on your level of consciousness. Isn't that the reason why people are telling you, well, you want to be a millionaire? Well, think like one. That's the whole idea of, that's why I always tell people everybody's doing God's work. That's the whole thing that Napoleon Hill was telling you niggas. But most importantly, he was also telling you, man, you are creator. You are a living mind. So this motherfucker went around and interviewed a lot of fucking millionaires and seeing that there's a state of mind that that comes with. Again, this is all spiritual. Everybody's doing God's work. Now, the difference between priests and other people now is our level of consciousness of that. Meaning we are able to go a little more deeper. We actually go the distance with it. And here's something else too. Even if you're learning a foreign language, I know for me, I was actually born in Haiti. So shit, even that part I'm not even sure. But anyway, that's a whole different story. That's a whole other thing, you know what I'm saying? But going back to, I had to learn how to speak English, right? And at first, you're gonna realize, or anybody who's learning a new language, you're gonna only hear the things that you already know. So that's why it is in your best interest. What you're doing is you're learning more words, and the more words that you learn, the more you're able to hear them, and the more you can relate. Let's just say if you know how to say sac passe, and I'm having a Creole conversation, and then somewhere along the line you hear passe or sac or some shit, you can only hear that because that's what you already know. So again, this is showing you our nature in terms of understanding, but most importantly, our essence. So, and this is also showing you too, wisdom is all around you. And this is why, and Jesus tells you, yo, he died for you already. Our ancestors has already, this is already done. This is a done deal. All you're doing here is waking up to it, meaning you're becoming conscious of it. It's already done. You just got to accept it. And that acceptance generally comes with the inner, with the inward journey, with you, the awakening, all of that good jazz. But most importantly, it's already there. By also them saying in that little that shit's fully loaded. Also by saying, all right, accept. I mean, that's where you understand. So the lips of wisdom is closed, accept. So in other words, the lips of wisdom is never really closed, but it can be closed to you, to your level of understanding. That's why our job here, as we're becoming more conscious, what we're also doing is that self awareness, let that knowledge, that self knowledge. But as we're developing the self knowledge, it's pretty much us becoming, if you, if the truth is to be discovered, so truly what you got to do is to be more receptive to it. And that's why in so many words I understand when the Tibetan monks, or what I'm saying, or Buddha, they use the lotus. Oh, this is all by design, because the lotus, it actually grow in the mud, and the way that it grows, like it's like in the deep bottom of the mud, and it pretty much bulges out. It becomes the bud, right? It opens up, and that's what you're doing. technically. Shout out to the fucking monks, man. And that's why I tell motherfuckers, that's why wisdom is wisdom. I mean, you gotta embrace all of that shit. I mean, if you want to be the best creator, because ultimately that's what you're doing, or that's who you're becoming, or having a more conscious knowledge of it, because you're doing it anyway. Just like I use that a 7 day Adventist example, you're already doing it. You know what I'm saying? And here's something else too, and that's why we have to praise the self. We gotta praise. You gotta love yourself. And here's something else too. That's why you'll see people who love themselves, who have attained that level of consciousness. We talk about it all the time, not just for the fucking just to say it, but it's because we have fully see it. And again, and I'll never stop talking about self love because I know for me that transition for me, it's like that was my journey too. That's where I needed to get to be, and that made a world of differences. So when we're talking about self love, people, because there's always been, and I also noticed there's always a big misconception when it comes to self love. There's a world of a universe of difference between self love and selfish or selfishness. Totally different. On one hand, with self love, what you're doing is you are acknowledging the divinity in you, those divine quality in you. And once you do that, guess what you do? And that is the reason why only when you love yourself you can love somebody else. Do you know what you do? Now you start looking for those divine qualities in other people. Whereas when you're talking about selfishness, you're only concerned with the external benefit for you. So when you're only concerned with the external benefit for you, you don't take other people like feelings or what I'm saying, divine quality into consideration because that's not what you identify yourself with. And here's something else too. That's why ultimately you got to understand or know your true identity because your life will be based on how you look at yourself, on your true identity. But anyway, going back to what the fuck was I talking about? Going back to, the whole identity stuff, when we're talking about, selfish, at this point, that's when you'll take and do anything, just for that personal, just to gain that external shit for your personal gain. And that's when you're stepping on people's toes. Hey, man, it don't matter. You waffling out here. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And now, when you're dealing with self love, now on the flip side, it's totally different. Now, because I love myself, I see this divine quality in me. Now, that's what I seek for in you. Because I got to see myself as more than dick and pussy, or as more than my achievements, or as more as what I have, so I can treat you that same way. How and where in the mix of all of this, everything I just mentioned here, somehow, we have to like put ourselves down to be politically correct. What the fuck? I mean, how do you choose to downplay yourself when everything starts with you? This is insanity. This is absurd, man. That's blasphemy. That is pure blasphemy. And I also talk about that too on my other channel, by the way. Check it out, Lespri. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do there. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know what I'm saying? The whole political, you know what I'm saying, correct shit, somehow making you be a better person is to look at yourself like trash. Make that make sense. And the funny thing is, being humble got nothing to do with that. Even look it up in the fucking dictionary. Being humble has absolutely nothing to do with you looking at yourself like trash. Well, at least the definition that I look up, I didn't see it. And again, when you love self, you will be humble. It doesn't mean you don't know your self worth, but it's because humble simply means I don't put my accomplishment above you. Meaning, if I'm a millionaire and you're not a fucking millionaire, yes, I understand I have more money than you, but because I have more money than you, I don't say that, what I'm saying, I'm bigger than you. That's what fucking being humble is. But it doesn't mean that I don't know I'm a fucking millionaire. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I know I'm a fucking millionaire. But I understand my money, what it does, has nothing to do with me being better than somebody else. That's humble. But again, everything starts with the self. And if you're not using you, how good are you really is? Even when we're talking about the gifts that we have, the gift that God gave us, you got to use you. And if you are created in God's image and you're holding God at the ultimate level, but you're looking at yourself as being weird, like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, going back to the lips of wisdom. Oh my God. Again, it's just showing you our true nature. But it's also showing yeah, it is our true nature, but the level of understanding or the way we interact with wisdom, that's why in so many words, you have to take accountability. And taking accountability is not necessarily for you to either blame yourself or not to blame yourself. That accountability here is to know and acknowledge that it's you. And ultimately, the whole journey of becoming self-conscious is to let it's you being conscious of you. That's why you got to see the God in you. But most importantly, you have to manifest that God in you out in the open. And that's the direct relationship that we have with knowledge too. And that's the difference between having knowledge and being wise. And for me, and once you understand that too, and that's the relationship, that's why words, when you understand that, those words are alive. Everything around you is alive. You gotta wake up to it. So ultimately, us becoming more conscious, what we're truly doing is becoming more receptive, meaning we have to open up ourselves to the unknown. And that's what you do when you meditate. You know what I'm saying? When you pondering on certain shit, you trying to expand your consciousness. That's why I mean you gotta understand what you're doing to make it work for you. Obviously. I mean I mean shit, I didn't think I would have to say that, but hey. It's all part of being conscious too. Because a lot of us are creating our reality, but we don't even know it. Can you see how insane that is? Yes. Yes. So, knowingly or unknowingly. I'm just trying to get you to, you got to get behind the wheel, man. I mean, you're already driving the car. I mean, it's just you to wake up to it, man. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? You're about to go over the bridge. You know what I'm saying? You got to be in control. But you're doing it knowingly or unknowingly, man. But anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it here. I just wanted, and what I wanted to do here also, by expanding on those quotes, what I'm also doing is giving you, is going the distance with it, and it's to show you how fully loaded those statements are. How also there's a lot that is being said, and that's pretty much the whole aspect of unpacking these things because they're fully packed. Do you see what I'm saying? So by us going the distance, expending, what I'm saying, the meaning in those fully loaded statements, I mean, that's exactly what we do here. So to give is to receive. It's been real. It's always a pleasure. Check out my other channel. You know what I'm saying? Let's make the world a better place. Always remember, knowledge is knowledge, regardless of where it comes from. For you to be you, nobody else can be around. And also remember the pain of the remedy. It's in the pain. Haïtien, Mali.